When we hold on to things, we actually restrict what's meant to happen in our life. I put that into every element of my life. And honestly, I don't care. That's the thing as well. I let go of that worrying and that caring. And I just trust whoever's meant to come will come. And I'd rather have less people, but the right people.
Hello and welcome back to the Kelly Lundberg podcast. I'm your host, business mentor, personal brand and style expert, on a personal mission to inspire a minimum of 5 people daily to take action, to do something different, to just show up as that person they aspire to be. So if you're one of my 5 a day, I really want to hear from you. And there's a couple of ways that you can do that. You can come and leave a review on Apple Podcasts and tell me what was your best part of the podcast or what super inspired you. Or come and find me on Instagram at Kelly Lundberg Official. This is where I hang out. Come and say hi in a DM. I'll reply back to you. I just want to hear what it was that inspired you the most. So in today's episode, I catch up with Kate Goodwin, someone who I met a really long time ago in Dubai, and a catch up was well overdue. We actually had a little pre-podcast warm-up, which lasted more than 30 minutes because we had so much to speak about. And then I said, no, we've got to start recording it. We're going to miss too much great content to share with everyone else. So hearing Kate's story is something that really resonated with me a lot, given the similar industries that she was in beauty, I was in style, and hearing how after being completely burnt out running a business and learning what she did to actually to overcome that was just so inspiring. And her direction has taken a lot of self-love, self-acceptance and self-worth skills to be able to accept herself just as she is and be comfortable in her own skin. And I think many of you listening will feel very similar to that on that journey, that it's taken a long time to feel really comfortable in your own skin. Kate says, one thing I do know is that beauty shines from within. No amount of makeup highlighter will make you glow as much as having peace in your soul and light in your heart. And I think this is so true. So let's hear her story. Hi, Kate. Welcome to the show. It's so good to see you.
Hi, Kelly. It's been so long. So good to see you too.
Well, so everyone's listening to us. We're looking at each other, which is great because it just adds a dimension to the conversation. Now, we first met back in 2011 in Dubai when you had just launched your academy in Dubai.
Yeah, Illuminate Media Makeup Studio it was back then.
Yeah, and I remember, and we were just chatting about it in our pre-podcast chats, and I remember going into it, and it was, you had it was all illuminated. Was it not like a pink? Was the 8 not pink?
Yeah, it was, everything's white, so it was all light for being illuminated, and then the colour was like a magenta pink.
Yes, I remember it so clearly, and we haven't actually probably spoken because you've left Dubai now, you're travelling back in and out. Why don't you give us a bit of a backstory as to, what it is that you're doing, where you are now? I have got a ton of questions because I love makeup. I love what you're doing. I love the aspect that you're taking onto with inner beauty and the spiritual side. So we'll get to that, being through your website and where you are now. But give us your side of the story, what you're doing.
Okay, so I opened the studio in 2011, and it was at the time it was the first of its kind in the region.
Yeah.
Because back then it wasn't saturated like it is now, and makeup was very different. Even that short space of time, it was very different then to what it became kind of a few years on. So I set up the school, and it was a success, and we had an agency with it and lots of students, and I loved it. But then eventually I worked so hard because Dubai drives you to just push and push and push. So I was working as a makeup artist, doing shoots nearly every day. I was traveling the world working as a makeup artist and going to LA a lot and coming back to London, and then running a school as well. And eventually I had a burnout. So I got stage 4 adrenal fatigue, and my doctor in Dubai was like, if you don't make a life change, you're going to get seriously ill.
Wow.
So I was in bed for about a year, and then one day I woke up and was just like, I need to get out to heal. So I just closed the doors to the business and I came back to London.
Wow. So it was a case of, right, I'm changing things. And, did you have a plan when you came to London? Was like, I'm going to do makeup there, or what?
No plan. It was just literally health comes first.
Your health
I'd
is.
felt, I'd felt so bad in my physical being that I was just like, I just need to feel normal again. I need to heal. And the only way I'm going to do this is by going back to root myself, ground myself, get back into my homeland and, just be in fresh air and nature, which I need to thrive.
And that in itself is a big decision. Moving country's one thing, but going back and not knowing.
Well, it was huge as well because at that point I was in a serious relationship, and I'm married to him now. So I left my long-term partner. I left my life of nearly 8 years. So I had all my friends and I had, I loved my life. I love my lifestyle. I left everything, sold my car, got rid of my apartment, just boom, done in one time. And I came back and started from nothing again. So yeah, it was a big decision. But sometimes I think when the universe pushes you, you just know. And you just got to trust your gut and just go with, there's a reason behind everything, right? When we make decisions that change our lives that way. And I look back now and I think it's the best thing that I ever did.
So what were some of those steps that you started to do to kind of rebuild? Because maybe people are listening and been in a position maybe similar, or they don't know what to do, or they're feeling like they need to do it. What were the steps that you took that they can maybe learn from to kind of rebuild that?
I think it's a really interesting question because coming out of Dubai and coming back to a place like England is a very dramatic change because you're living in, like in Dubai, we live in a bubble, we live in this fast paced, exciting, non-stop 24-hour on the go life. We can be out all the time. We're at fancy restaurants, we're at bars, like we're living life. We're at the beach at the weekends and in the evenings. And then you come home and it's, for many people, it's like mundane. And they're just like, I can't do it. I can't go from this to that, It's a hard...
You haven't moved to the city. So are you on the outskirts? Are you more nature?
Yeah, I wanted nature. So I was going to go back to London where I was before in North London. But actually, in the end, I decided to come back nearer where my mum is, to be near my mum. And also, I just wanted trees. So I'm just outside of central London, outside of London.
So what are some of the first steps? So we've got that it's a massive transition. Yeah. Did you connect with friends? Did you start working? Did you read? Like, what are some of the things that you did?
Yeah, I'd say, first of all, you just need to decompress. So first of all, you need to just allow yourself to take some time out to reassess what is it that got you to this point in the first place, and like regroup really to then decide what steps will I take to move forward. Reconnect with your friends, reconnect with your family, and just kind of get your roots planted back into the ground.
And what other tools have helped you? We talked briefly about kind of meditation, journal, what kind of worked for you?
Yeah, I mean, I live a spiritual and holistic lifestyle. So for me, my life is very much based around, the major part of it is based around spirituality. So I meditate every day. I read high vibrational books, like I don't watch too much television, and I keep myself around the right types of people. And I think that was a really key thing as well, because I realized that a lot of the people that had been around me in Dubai were actually not really on the same level.
Low vibration rather than high vibration.
Yeah, I don't like to say low vibration, but yes. People that bring you down, people that maybe, like there's those elements of negativity, there's those elements of envy, jealousy, all those kind of emotions that we don't really need around us. So when I came back here, it gave me the chance to have a fresh start and to really decide who I wanted to have in my life.
Love it. Can you share any great books? So I always think it's a great resource to learn.
Oh gosh.
from others with the high vibration or anything from the energy perspective, anything that you've got that really.
I'm always picking up different books. I'm not very good at finishing books because I get too excited. So I read about 3/4 of the way and then I'm on to my next one. And then I've probably got about 4 books on the go at the moment. I did just put a post out on A Course in Miracles, which is something that I've been doing for many years. And A Course in Miracles it's a book that basically just allows us to learn about transforming fear to love, which to me is the only vibration that we need to really understand about and be on. And even when you just hold these books, you can feel the energy from them. It's a textbook, it's a workbook, it's an ongoing workbook that you'll probably never finish in a lifetime. But there's books that have been written around it by other authors, which break it down into simple terms. Really nice. I think a really nice one actually that you might like is I'll tell you at the end.
At the time when we are recording this, Kate is about to give birth. She actually messaged me last night saying, just in case, I might have to cancel the podcast because I'm due to go into labour any day.
Yeah, and I was in hospital being monitored all day yesterday, and I've got to go back today because they might want to induce me. So yeah, I'm sitting here full bellied, ready to pop any minute.
We can't wait. Do you know what you're having? Are you?
Yeah, I'm having a little girl.
Exciting. Got names? Are you?
Yeah, I do actually. I will share her name because she'll be out by the time this goes out. So she's called Faith.
Lovely.
And that's because I've had to have faith throughout this whole pregnancy journey because I lost the baby and I lost faith. Mm-hmm. And then when I got pregnant again, and that was a boy, and when I found out this was a girl, I was like, it's just about having faith.
Love it. What, from the bottom of my heart, I wish you every success over the next couple of days. And
thank you.
I can't wait to see and one day meet Faith when you're back out in Dubai. Let's touch a little bit more on this. So we'll go into the sort of spirituality side of what you're doing. So
the book, A Course in Miracles Made Easy. There you go.
Okay, perfect. I'll link that at the bottom for those that are looking. I'll share that on the website so people can click into that.
Yeah.
So have you gone back into doing and makeup and a makeup artist? And you've worked with some incredible people. Has that been since you've moved back? Is that part of the journey? I mean, you've got a great A-list lineup of some of the celebrities you've worked with.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate in my career. Like, I've worked hard. I'm not going to say that it's all luck. I have worked hard. And, you know, I love my job. I love doing makeup. But it got to a point where I started to hate it didn't feel deep enough for me. And the superficial side of like being on fashion shoots and things like that, it just started to numb me. And it started to go against everything that I was about, really, because it was completely contrasting to my spiritual belief. And it got to a point where it just got a bit tiring. And even though you're working with these A-list celebrities and these, you know, big people, and we're flying to LA and doing like big celebrity shoots for magazines, it didn't actually fulfill me. Mm-hmm. And I started to realize that actually some of the more fulfilling times in my career were when I was starting out and working on counters in central London and working on women who had low self-esteem and just selling them makeup, but making them feel incredible. And that was more where I wanted to go back to.
So what does the business model look like now?
So after my recent journey where I was quite ill, and so I lost a baby, I got hit by a car in central London, all when I came back from Dubai. And then on my honeymoon, I got taken ill and diagnosed with quite a horrible autoimmune disease, but I don't like to put that energy into it. So it was life-altering and it changed everything. And that took me on a journey to learn about health. So I went on a course to do integrated nutrition, and that was for myself. But I learned so much and got so much passion out of that. So I mix now beauty, spirituality, and health. And I've combined the three together to create programs, and more than just programs, like a lifestyle around that for myself and the people I want to share it with, how to connect to their divine beauty.
So how do they do that? Is so the makeup is one part, then they understand about themselves. So take me through that journey. Like I'm the potential client, what would that journey look like if I was working with you? Because I'm fascinated with the whole, like, love makeup, but then adding in these other parts.
Yeah, so it's those three elements that I've brought together.
Yeah.
And for me, it's really important. Like, even as a makeup, so I've been a healer for nearly 15 years. And even when I would do makeup, so if I had you in my makeup chair, I could, and I would give you healing at the same time that I'm doing makeup, because healing's essentially coming out of my hands, and my hands are touching your face, and that energy is going into your,
Okay.
energy.
Yeah.
So that's one way. But also nowadays, because we're going online with everything, we can also use healing and energy healing for distant healing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use modalities to put out there to reach people from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so if we look at then a course that we were doing, for instance, so my course that I'm just launching now, that has three elements. So it's got the element of natural beauty. So it's really important when I teach makeup that I don't want you to cover your face so much that when you take your makeup off, you don't recognize yourself.
And that seems to be the way that Instagram and YouTube and contour and
that is like where, celebrity culture and society has pushed us now. And actually what I believe, and I did a lot of research into this over the last few years, and it breeds insecurity. So as much as you might feel amazing with the makeup on, as soon as it comes off, it actually makes you feel worse about who you are, because you need that makeup to put that mask on. So yeah, it breeds insecurity, and it's kind of like a catch-22. It feeds us into, constantly buying things to keep up with
what we think we
self-worth. Exactly. And keep our self-worth in check, when really that self-worth comes from within.
So true. And it is so lost, and it's taking people like yourself to re-educate, to nurture, to share that knowledge, to feel it in themselves.
Exactly. And I do feel like, I don't want to ever contradict myself when I say use makeup to make yourself feel better, because if you use just a little bit of makeup to enhance our natural features, I think that's wonderful. And that is the most powerful way we can use makeup, because it just tweaks things and it just makes you feel a little bit more confident when you're facing the world, but without changing what God gave you naturally.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. I see this filter now. I don't know if you've seen the challenge on, or it's not a challenge, but on Instagram, where they do this filter, and they do the one where they're super filtered up and then they slide to the other side, and you see like the real person, and you can see how much it's destroying.
And that's the word, destroying. It destroys self-worth.
Confidence, self-worth, and confidence, which is what you're wanting to help women back into doing.
And finding self-acceptance. And I honestly believe as well, where there are things like, so skin's very important as well. Obviously with makeup, understanding skincare, that's your foundations. So when you connect skin to, I went through a journey growing up, I had really severe acne. And it took me years to understand that actually it's not about the creams that I'm putting on my face that are going to heal this. It's what I'm putting into my body nutritionally. So then I would cut out dairy, I'd cut out sugar, and suddenly my skin healed. So that was also a big part of what I put into the course. It's all about, what we're putting in our bodies and the effect that it has on the outside of our face.
And skincare, I feel, is kind of, it's got it's having its moment in the spotlight after lockdown, and people having a bit more time. And I've always loved skincare, but I know now I'm doing it even more because I've got a routine. Like, for the first time ever, we have routines that we can maintain, which is great.
And it's become a trend.
Mm.
I mean, the thing is, some people love a 10-step Korean, skincare routine. For me, I'm so simple, like 2-3 products maximum. Like, as long as my skin looks as good as it can look, I'm happy. And I think some people get a little bit, like, some people love going through loads of products and learning this, but some people get really intimidated by it. So part of what I'm teaching as well, I like to keep things simple.
Yeah.
Because there's not everybody who can, one, afford all the products, and two, who have time.
Yeah. And for those, I had just said to Kate before we started, you need to tell me what you're using on your skin, because her skin looks amazing. Like, it's just like, I mean, it's glowing. It looks fabulous. So
Maybe that's baby. Maybe that is pregnancy skin. Because I've had no sleep for about a week.
Well, you would never be able to tell that from just now. So how much then is this sort of the spirituality side that is so heavily ingrained in what you do personally that it's just natural that it's coming into your business?
Exactly. And, it is very much a time where people are really understanding about being authentic.
Oh,
and
completely.
And, I watch it. I love watching it. I love watching people shift into this, like, kind of no BS. I can't say that word. Can I say? Just like not taking crap.
Vulnerability. It's I think being vulnerable as well. The authenticity part is actually showing the real side of who you are. But
well, you do this every day, and that's part of your brand and your career. Like, you share yourself. For me, I've lived as a makeup artist with a persona that hasn't felt as real to who I am as what I show the world. You know what I mean? Because it's all like living the high life and being with celebrities and being this and being that. But really, that's completely the opposite of how I live my life.
So what would you say what is there a couple of things you can share that's maybe you're do more authentically now that you didn't do before?
Yeah, I just speak my truth, and I don't think and care about other people thinking, oh, a bit nuts, isn't she? Like, I don't really care, because actually I realise that the right people come to you, and the people that listen to you, they're interested in what you've got to talk about. And, most of the stuff, when I think back to being a makeup artist, and you talk a lot because you've got somebody in your chair, so you become a therapist, you become this, you become that. And actually, that when I had the conversations with the majority of the models or people that I met, it always went down a spiritual route as a therapist, and they loved it. And I think you just have to just be real and talk from your heart. That's it.
Do you think that's also a bit of an age thing? We're very similar ages. So, do you think that you also get to that point where you're like, the things bother you a little bit less about, what other people think about you, or you're more about what you do? It's just more an idea.
Oh, absolutely. But also the journey that I've been on over the last few years with illness, and when you get diagnosed with something, your life literally flashes in front of your eyes, and suddenly, within an instant like that, you don't care what people think anymore, because the things that you're worrying about have just shifted perspective. Your values have changed. And actually, my mum's always brought me up saying she's quite eccentric, and she doesn't care what people think about her. And I love that about my mum. But I've never really had that, because you have insecurities and you care about judgment and all of this. But I think a big part of what I'm teaching now, I've got to practice what I preach, because it's about no judgment, no criticism, no self-criticism, not looking at others and, finding fault, and not looking at yourself and finding fault.
Easier said than done, I suppose.
Yeah.
A constant journey of practice. What's a common misconception that you would like to dispel about your job as a makeup artist, or or what you're doing now? Something you'd be like, this is not true or not right. The stage is yours.
Well, I think what I found hard is where the makeup industry has changed so much over the years. I got to a point where people would ask me what I did as a career over the last, I'd say, 4 years. And when I say makeup artist, I felt a bit embarrassed for the first time in my career. And that was because everybody's a makeup artist now. So I started doing makeup 20 years ago, where I trained for years, I assisted for free for years. And now people do a 2-day course and they call themselves a makeup artist and slap all this heavy makeup on. And people just assume that that's you as well. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, no.
I love that misconception and sharing that, because it's so true.
It's so true. Like, as a stylist, you go online or you go on social media. In my eyes, it got to this point one day where I was just like, everybody's either a makeup artist or a stylist or even a photographer. And in our industry, it was just like, you can just be anything you want really now.
Yeah.
Weekend a course, and there's just no credibility.
So how are you finding your clients now? You're back, I say back home, but you're back in a new space. I mean, how hard was it to build your client database up after, you were off for, at least a year? What was that like?
Well, it's just, I believe strongly that the right people come to you. And actually, I think it's been a lot less pushing. Sometimes something as well that I learned on this recent health journey and everything else was when you just let go.
Oh, so
life just flows. When we hold on to things, we actually restrict what's meant to happen in our life. I put that into every element of my life. And honestly, I don't care. That's the thing as well. I let go of that worrying and that caring. And I just trust whoever's meant to come will come. And I'd rather have less people, but the right people.
Dennis, my coach that I've been working with on sort of healing and understanding about myself and the journey, we've just tackled that aspect of push versus letting things happen effortlessly. And that's I love that word, effortlessly. When I can see it.
That's another book then, a very an old but a very wonderful book that I always come back to is The 7 Spiritual Laws.
Okay.
And in that, you can read that in an hour. And in that book, that's one of the 7 spiritual laws.
Right. That'll be downloaded. And while we're exchanging books, one you might find quite interesting, Jamie, she started It Cosmetics. Have you heard of?
Yeah.
So she's just launched, and I'm just dragging up my my Audible account now. Believe It, Jamie Kern Lima. Her book. So I listen to a lot of stuff on Audible, and it's all about her journey. And she has been trying to change the industry of makeup and applying makeup, and she really pushed to have normal women representing her skincare and her makeup collection. And she changed the way it's done now, because everyone was like, well, you can't do it. It's got to be models. It's got to be good skin. It's got to be this. And she's like, but you've got to show it on real people, all the things that we've talked about, the authenticity part, the real part, and stop this fakeness of this is what we all look like, because we don't.
No. And that's powerful. And it is powerful. I got asked a question yesterday, and that was about how would I hope to see beauty in the next decade? And such a good question, because, it's kind of like, I hope that as time moves forward, we start to really connect to that self-love and see beauty for what it is without the needing to clone into other people and just look like a certain way, and just to accept ourselves, because we're all unique. We've all been given these features. We've been given these, think about contouring. What does contouring do? It changes your features. You were born with certain features. Yes, you can enhance them, but people are changing them and they're cloning into the same look. And it's frightening.
Yeah, so true. So true. What would you like to leave as your kind of parting comment, or maybe a piece of advice if someone's out there seriously wanting to maybe become a makeup artist, or to a potential client that, you want them to hear a message? What would you like to share?
Well, I think for anybody who wants to become a makeup artist, like follow your dream, because when I decided to become a makeup artist, it was my dream at the time, and it was the best thing that I ever did. It changed my life on so many levels. And 20 years ago, I didn't know where it was going to bring me now. But go to a good school, do your research, learn properly, and just practice. And for a woman who is struggling, like I call them like us, just the everyday woman, for a woman who is maybe struggling to connect to herself, you know, it's just taking time to not just look in the mirror and just see, like, care about what you're seeing in your reflection, but it's to look deeper within yourself and to look at what does beauty really mean to you, because beauty is about accepting yourself, it's about kindness, compassion, and it goes deep. So working on ourselves actually helps us to shine that light from within.
Great parting comment. So how can people find you, Kate?
Probably not for a while now. This baby's about to pop out. Okay, so www.kategoodwin.com and Illuminate Academy is my new business. So that is courses.illuminateacademy.com.
And are you on social? Do you share much on social?
I should be sharing, but I'm not very good at it. Yeah, I am Kate Goodwin Makeup at Kate Goodwin Makeup for Instagram. I am Illuminate and Kate Goodwin on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. And I know we had a massive catch up beforehand. And I've just loved speaking to you and reconnecting. It's been way too long, like a decade. So
thank you so much, Kelly. It's been amazing. Really lovely.
So good to have you. Best of luck and look forward to, will you maybe share a picture of Faith when she arrives on your social?
Sure, I will.
Sounds good. Take care and best of luck with everything. Bye, Kate.
Bye, take care.
Thank you so much for being here and listening to this episode today. Were you inspired? What was your one takeaway that you can put into action? Head over to Instagram, Kelly Lumberg Official. I love to hang out there, so drop me a DM, tell me the best part, or even better, share it with a friend and inspire them too. We are growing weekly and it's all down to you. Thank you so much. Reviewer of the week left this message. Annie, highly recommended listen. Great podcast. Personally, I really resonated with the last one on how to make the best of your relationships personally and professionally. Please leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. It really does make a massive difference. Be inspired and keep following your dreams.